You're listening to Into the Twilight, an independent, listener-supported show. Subscribe at patreon.com/intothetwilight for monthly bonus episodes, weekly shoutouts, a Patreon-only book club, and more. Thanks for support, and now, on with the show.
Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Oh my god, okay. I just saw what you put as your happy thing. I'm so excited. Hello, friends. We are here.
Yo.
Another day
Okay, alright. Interesting energy we're bringing right at the jump here.
Welcome to Twilight. This is a podcast about crime.
Sure.
In the vampire community. Specifically, unfortunately, the episode that we have to talk about today, because all it caused us is suffering and misery.
Yeah.
Which apparently you all like for entertainment. You freaks. How are you?
I'm here. I'm vibing. I'm out here.
I see that, yes.
Listen, this is not going to start as a happy thing, because how I discovered this was very sad.
No, I agree.
This is a public service announcement, I guess. This is a call to action, in a way.
Right.
There was a pre and a post. A very hard pre and a post in my life recently. Yeah. And that was before I knew literally nothing about Tiny Chef, and now knowing everything about Tiny Chef, and being really emotionally attached to this tiny little guy.
Sure. It is awful.
Yeah.
It is awful where we are at in this world to have found out through this news.
Yeah.
But it is good to know that our community is collectively supporting this beautiful chef.
You know, the state of kids, entertainment, and media is pretty rough.
Yeah.
You know, we got Bluey, we got Sesame Street and all those things, but like all that, there's a lot of other slop out there.
We got barely Sesame Street.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and that's like on a thread, you know? It's on a real tightrope over there. So, like, the infrastructure is not good, as it was, which is not great. But I found out about this fucking little guy, Tiny Chef, who's just a small chef who makes plant-based recipes. And he's the cutest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my life. And went viral because they got canned by Nickelodeon, and it is the most baller move of all time if you're like an animator, particularly in this, which is like really specific and really like takes long to do.
Right.
To be like, what if I spend a lot of working hours to animate like a 2-minute clip of this guy crying because he just wants to make his little recipes for the children, and big Nickelodeon won't let him.
I mean, fucking stick it to the man, first of all.
Right.
I love that. And also, you can't make this beautiful creature cry and expect us to not do anything about it. So I think it is the perfect use of like,
yes,
we know what pathos does. We're going to use it for good and not for evil. And also as a act of resilience against this nasty studio. Like, sure, we'll make an announcement, but you're going to pay for it. We're going to resist you at every possible opportunity.
Right, it's gonna be really painful for everyone
involved.
Like, you're gonna feel it, you know? And I think it's very cool. Like, now they have, like, a little GoFundMe. There's a bunch, Florence Pugh is, like, giving them a bunch of money.
Bless.
Like, it seems like since having this guy enter my life, my life has infinitely changed for the better. Because he's in so many little outfits. He's got so many tiny little accessories, so many expressions, and so many times of him singing Kendrick Lamar for some reason, which I love. Listen, you know, that's great. Fuck yeah. Are you kidding?
My understanding from the community that I've seen is that people are like, oh, well, Tiny Chef's black. And you're like, well, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I believe it. And that's great. That's great.
I feel bad because this sucks, right? Like, we hate to have news come out of tragedy like this. But also, the only thing that I knew prior to this week about Tiny Chef was the TikTok sound of him as a turkey going viral.
Yes.
And so now that I got to lock in a little bit more and see, there was a video that I saw of someone being hired to like make Tiny Chef's set, and it was like a full-on fucking documentary style editing with this real person, like an HGTV thing. And I was like, I love these people. Whoever they are, they're absolute creative geniuses, and I wish them nothing but the best.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiny Chef.
Thank you, Tiny Chef. Justice for Tiny Chef. I just found out about you like 2 days ago, and now I will put my life on the line for you and your glory and what you provide, which is infinite joy and seemingly great little recipes. I love that.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
How dare you deprive kids of beautiful art?
Yeah.
What are they going to watch now? Paw Patrol?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, come on. Get out of here. Jesus.
Criminals. I don't like it.
But this is my truth. I'm now Tiny Chef's #1 fan. I love this tiny guy. I love him. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm present. I have a happy thing this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's a television show. Everyone don't gasp, okay? I'm watching something new, all right? Everyone shut up. I started watching Countdown.
Okay.
And so everyone, hey, hear me out before you start. I knew nothing about this show.
Yeah.
At all. Literally nothing. Had never seen a trailer. I just saw I had to find a way to watch Paramount for our bonus episode. And I had a free trial for both Amazon Prime and Paramount because it's been so long since I've used them. And I was like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
Knowing nothing about this, I went in because that's unfortunately the relationship that I have with Jensen Ackles. Is like, I'll watch anything that you're in, right? Should I have looked up what it was? Props. The show is heavy propaganda, like heavy copaganda kind of stuff. Keep that in mind. However, before you decide like, oh, maybe I don't want to watch this, I want to give you the credits of specifically like the head writer and creator of this show. You might know the head writer and creator from things like Chicago Fire.
Sure.
Chicago PD.
Sure.
Chicago Med.
Sure.
Chicago Justice. Didn't know that those were all different things. Too Fast, Too Furious.
Okay.
And most importantly for this show, Catch That Kid.
Excuse me. Sorry. Sorry, I was with you in the first half of that. I was like, okay, I see how all these are thematically similar. What? Okay.
Right. So just a nice little connection to case you in there.
Damn.
Here's the thing, right? If I know that something's propaganda, then it's a little bit easier to go into. Like, I know what I'm getting into when I rewatch Criminal Minds, right? I'm going to try and pitch you on this show a little, even though they do use the yellow filter, like Breaking Brad. Yeah, Breaking Brad does.
When you break Brad? Yeah.
When you break Brad. So it's set in LA, but they're using the yellow filter.
Sure.
Like it's... So anyways, that's in there. However, the first episode, we get 3 of the people that I've had crushes on from the WB from the beginning of time, which is Milo Ventimiglia.
Uh-huh.
Eric Dane, who I first knew from Charmed, and y'all know now from other crimes of Euphoria.
Sure, yeah.
And then also Jensen Ackles, right? So they put them all in one place, and they're like, go break bad together. And I'm unfortunately locked in here.
Yeah. That is like a holy trinity of guys you like. Like, you know, like your white boys. Your gaggle of white boys.
Yeah. I've loved these people since I was a child, right?
Totally.
So like, what do you want me to do? Heavy propaganda. Am I still watching it? Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Jensen looks great.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's good. And it's also on Amazon Prime, so they can say fuck, which helps.
Yeah.
I think it's worth watching at least the first episode. It's not bad. But just know what you're getting into. Like, I did not, so learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
There. But I have been watching Jensen on my screen since Days of Our Lives, and so I am unfortunately locked into this hellscape with this white man. It's better than the couple of episodes that he was on with on Tracker with fucking Chriselle's ex-husband. So we love improvement there.
Sure. Yeah.
But as someone who, you know, spent half of my life or something watching Supernatural, this is a lot of the same, which isn't a bad thing, but it is something to be aware of on there. So it's happy to me.
Yeah.
It's fine. But yeah, I would just be aware before you go in that it's like, oh, we're cops and we're cool. I'm like, okay, sure. I have one piece of news to share with the class.
A little reunion of sorts.
Yeah, a reunion, and also the worst pixel and worst quality photo I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
This is an international wedding. No, not the one that you're thinking of. Tyler Lockwood and his beautiful wife got married in Spain. And the gang's back together. They look great. So that's nice.
Yeah, they're all wearing beautiful fits. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Matt and Vicky and Caroline. And then obviously Nina is here. Yeah. I would be curious to know if there were other cast members that we are not seeing that were there as well. But I love it. They look great. They look happy, which is good for them. Yeah. I keep forgetting that Coach Ben is with Candace.
I know. Now. It literally took me out. I was like, wait a minute. Ariana, what are you doing?
If y'all want us to watch the originals, I would be curious because I do want to know where he shows up in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Especially given the crimes that we did have to watch for this episode. I am desperate to know how this episode did ya.
Dude, I'm pissed. I'm so fucking pissed.
Tell him.
The way they weaponize so many things against us and our wants and desires and the things we hold dear and true is so fucking sick and twisted, dude.
They've done a lot of crimes to us, these writers.
Yeah.
I really felt like they were going a very different direction in this finale. Like maybe in 2013 they were unsure about their success because this did give a little series finale at some points.
Yeah,
which was unexpected on there. Of like, wow, this is really, Vitamin C is going to start playing, you know, like this is, we're going to start reliving our memories and everything.
Yeah.
What I was very confused by was them being like, oh no, actually this ship is real. And where did that come from? I thought that was fake. I thought that was a joke. Did you want that? Did the audience want this at the time?
I can't.
I'm sending it back, actually.
Actually, I'm good on this one. Thank you, though. Also, like, the fact that this episode starts with the shot through the heart needle drop, that turns out to be diegetic because Lexi is just having her 80s life moment right now, is beautiful. It's really good.
I did love that needle drop at the start. I think that it was also helpful that we started off with Cole at the football stadium and him being like, welcome all of you beautiful creatures that we didn't see when the veil dropped last week.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're gonna kick ass, we're gonna take names. Everything's gonna be great, because that does feel very appropriate to Cole for me.
Yeah.
And then there were not many other laughs for me.
Yeah. I did enjoy, like, drunk Stefan at the beginning of this.
Dude.
Just being a real little bitch. Like, that was very fun to me. Because
Stefan hero hair Salvatore.
Literally hero hair. And, like, mind you, it's like 7 a.m., right? Lexi's dancing to Shot Through the Heart. Damon has to be like, hey, bud, what's going on? Because usually that's my thing. Or, like, I'll crash out, you know? Like, can you get your fucking shit together, please? And Stefan, like, deadpan, after Damon asks, like, are you drinking? And he's like, I don't know, Mom. Am I? It's so good. He needs to lean more. If either we get full dark Stefan, TM, we'll talk about that later, or we get more of little bitch boy, just party boy, Stefan.
No care in the world, yeah.
Yeah. We gotta pick one.
I did unfortunately really vibe with that Stefan. The
Yeah.
one in the middle of this episode where he was talking to Lexi and being like, but I love Elena. She's the one.
Grow up.
Send it back.
Grow up.
What do you mean that you're an immortal vampire and you believe in not just soulmates, but like specifically one soulmate?
Yeah.
No. Nope. No, thank you.
It's so, and we're still operating on the, like, I don't know. The whole thing is like, you know, I'd be like super fine if she chose Damon, but like, if that is the case, I'm gonna kill myself and run away, right?
No.
And it's like, but also being like, I want her to pick me because like, I'll love her and I'll always love her. And it's like, you are still operating on the idea that like, she cannot make a truly informed choice without you being like a little bitch about it and running away. Because the one thing she doesn't want is you to not be in her life, even if it is not a romantic thing. And you're too much of a little bitch boy to handle that. And it's like, we can't keep doing this, my guy. This was like you 2 seasons ago. Can we fucking grow up? Like, Jesus Christ. Things have changed.
There was no character development there.
Yeah.
I'm glad for the story, I guess, because it wouldn't have lasted very long, but I did think that it was an interesting prospect of him holding the cure. Yeah. Because in a way that is Stefan's whole thing. Mm-hmm. Elena was right about that, of like, you are a really shitty vampire.
That was so good. Elena's like, we've been thinking about this all wrong. Like, I'm figuring it out. Like, I'm still, there's bumps in the road, but I'm like, I'm chilling. Caroline's chilling. You know, obviously Rebecca wants it, but like, she'll survive, whatever. When we really need to be like, you suck at this. You, Stefan specifically, are bad at being a vampire and don't enjoy it. And just like, here, you know, like, can you just do this and put us all out of our fucking misery right now? Jesus Christ, you mopey little guy.
We got a conclusion. I don't know that it was necessarily the most satisfying one. I think from the aspect of Paul, I always like it when he gets to play bad. Yeah. And so I don't hate that necessarily. What I'm very confused by is the what now? Yeah. You are stuck at the bottom of this waterfall. And I don't think that you have magic tricks like David Blaine.
Right. You can't David Blaine yourself out of the situation, my guy. It's looking pretty rough. Right. And now you got Silas, aka Dark You, or whatever, running around. Which also, by the way, fucking retconning of shit here. Of like, oh, well, obviously, if the witch who did the spell dies, then the spell also dies with it. Excuse me. That is a logistical nightmare. What are you talking about? Like, how does that work in practice? What do you mean?
The fact that Silas, all of a sudden, right, in literally like the last 2 seconds of this episode, we find out that he's a doppelganger, but in the sense of like that fake Pikachu, the like recent fake Pikachu where it's like, this is just what I'm taking on from you. Ew.
It's just like, what are we doing here? Right? Because it's like, and to their point, it was like very unsatisfactory the last episode. We're like, that's it, huh? The silence, the big bad? Okay. True. You know, we asked for this. But like, the way they weave it in of being like, oh, well, obviously, because Bonnie's dead. Oops, spoiler alert, Bonnie's dead, Stefan. He's like, what? What are you talking about?
He's like, Bonnie's not dead. No one's checked in on her. He has no way of confirming that's true.
Yeah, he's like, actually, it's been a minute since I've seen her, so I can't really be sure. And being like, well, obviously, that's good, so the spell doesn't work anymore. Plus, also, the matter and the energy that is taken up by the universe has to be equal sums. Whatever. I get all that shit. But, like, that is so fucking bananas. Just from a precedent standpoint of what do you mean? Like, does that mean every spell that her grandma ever did is just let to poofs when she's... Like, what are we talking about here? This is a nightmare.
Because they've tried to use that a couple of times before.
Yeah.
But not in a way where the magic was still going. This felt like a very, like a binary thing. Either the veil is open or it is closed. Mm-hmm. And so the idea that would only stay in place if the witch who cast that spell was still alive. Where's the fine print on that?
Yeah. Excuse me. That seems really contingent on a lot of things, very specifically, that I don't think, in a world with magic, makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
What? What are we talking about?
And that is a lot of how I felt this episode. It was just a general sense of confusion where they've decided in the last few moments, oh, we're going to toss this in. One of which being Rebecca and Matt. I was always under the impression that she liked, and I'm saying this in heavy quotes, liked Matt in a very projecting way.
Yeah.
Miss Girl has said it herself, right? Like, she wanted to be human, and he is the definition of that, or at least in this friend group. And so for that to actually be a thing, not just under duress of them talking about traveling, but him actually doubling down on that, no. Yeah. I think that Matt's been pretty explicit about his feelings of vampires.
Right. I think, too, like, I'm not giving this any particular weight because, again, I think a lot of this is on the precedent of everyone's having a little sexy summer here. None of these folks have college plans. None of these folks have anything really in their future. And most of them are vampires. So they're just going to figure shit out, right? And I do like the idea of Matt being like, hey, I've lived here my entire life. And it would be cool to just, like, do a little road trip. However, like, I do kind of need my love life a no too low vampire zone. But, like, we can... Whatever happens, whatever happens on the road stays on the road. I think that's
Matt
fun,
is playing fucking chess, right? Maybe he's like, I know that this family's made of money. Yeah. I know that she's going to be able to take me. I'm just going to be a sugar baby for the summer. Right.
And you know what? Good for him.
That's the best idea he's ever had.
Right. Yeah. That's great. I'm down for that. But, like, there's so much going on here. And it's like, oh no, I'm scared. Because we also have frickin' Klaus invites Caroline to New Orleans and is also like, oh, by the way, I guess Tyler can come back because he's not really my problem anymore. Because he may have been your first love, but I intend to be your last, however long that takes.
And that's a red X to me.
Yeah, that's a big, loud, incorrect buzzer. Slamming it down. Absolutely.
Because he might have said that in a way that was supposed to be romantic. I took that as a threat.
Yeah.
Personally.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 17, and I'm afraid of Klaus. Because what do you mean if someone looked at me in the face and was like, yeah, no, you can go fuck Tyler, that's fine, you can love him, that's fine, but when all's said and done, we're gonna be together, right? Yeah. No, not you, Mr. Evil. Thank you though. Her smiling at him, I knew we were in trouble. I knew we were in trouble when she turned around and she smiled at him, because when has Caroline ever? No. Yeah. Klaus, look me in your face. Do you know what a lesbian is? Can I... Help me help you, dude. Okay? Yeah. That's all I ask. And maybe she was just trying to get money from him. Yeah. Why else do you send a grad announcement?
Listen, if all of these folks are out here scamming, I'm not mad at that, But I'm worried.
No, not at all.
For Miss Caroline. Because I don't think it's just scamming. I'm nervous.
If we're both immortal and you say something like that to me, I'm gonna pull a Catherine, and you're gonna never see me again. It's gonna be a fucking Looney Tunes cloud of smoke.
Absolutely.
I'm gone.
Yeah. I also, for a second, can we talk about, so graduation, right? And you mentioned before, like, all of the folks that were wronged for the Silas sacrifice, whatever, were there. Which, by the way, how did no one see that? You know? That's interesting. And, like, then it's graduation time, and they're all, like, planted like fucking sleeper agents amidst the crowd, not wearing robes, all in all black.
The only way that I justified that was because Bonnie's dead, and I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
Right.
That she could see, you know, she could pierce the veil, TM, and maybe they weren't trying to, like, make themselves known at that moment, because it would very much stand out if you're Bonnie's dad at the front, right, doing the announcements, and you see the sea of red because of all the caps and gowns, and then there are just these little dots of people who are not in their caps and gowns. Mr. Interim Mayor would be like, excuse me, what?
Yeah, it's like, I think there's a threat. Like, something is going to go down at this graduation in a way that we have no security for, because this town has 3 adults total currently. God. So, like, it was just funny of being, like, hypothetically in a universe where it's like, if it's just Bonnie seeing them through the veil or whatever, those are still, like, empty seats. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, how are they sitting down? You know what I mean? Like, are they manifesting chairs too? Like, I'm just confused.
Yeah, are they squatting? What's up?
Right. Like, I have questions. I'm a little concerned.
And I think that you should be, because I was under the impression, based on the amount of qualifiers that we got last episode, that there were only a select amount of people who came back to Mystic Falls.
Right.
Who had a reason. And then we see a group of 30, 50, maybe?
Right. Yeah, the 12 people sacrifices? Yeah. Just fully, like, okay, great. Awesome. Because, I mean, to be fair, they do have unfinished business. But, like...
They do.
That felt a little like, hey, this is a lot. What's going on here? Hey.
And also, I know that this doesn't necessarily make great TV, but I would have loved to see the unionizing that happened in the past 12 hours between these episodes.
Right.
Because how did Cole find all of these people across town?
Yeah.
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Okay? Sure. It's supposed to be intimidating having all these lackeys around. But I would like to know how this organization happened. Because we know that Cole isn't necessarily the most smart. He got locked into the glass box. The Michelson glass box.
Mm-hmm.
So, who's actually leading this show? You know?
Yeah.
Probably Connor, with all of his fucking bombs.
Yeah.
But who's to say? You know? I understand why they did it. I know they had to do it for the plot. I felt bad that Vaughn was there, and that's, like, Damon's whole thing.
Yeah.
Especially because the resolution of that felt very unsatisfactory to me. Mm-hmm. Of, like, oh, suddenly he's fine. I do need to know your opinion on this, like, shouting match that him and Elena have at the end.
Yeah.
Before she confesses her feelings.
I fucking can't, dude. Listen. We know there are things that have always been true about Damon, right? And those things are often unchanging. And one of the core things of that is he, under no circumstances, wants to be human. No, this is his life. He's still, he can still be, annoying about it, but whatever. And this conversation of, like, I have never known you having feelings for me in a way that wasn't incredibly contingent on things that are not within any of our control. And that's a bad place to be. And also, just, like, yelling and being like, I'll kill myself right now, basically, is what he's doing. Of being like, there are so many other things I'd rather do than try this again and lose you and carry that pain for any period of time, Which, I get it. But also, can we lower our voices, please? This can
Yeah,
just be
because
a
first of all, your brother's in the
conversation.
house.
Right.
He is going to have to hear this. I mean, he doesn't have to. He could leave whenever he wants.
Sure.
But he is hearing this confrontation that you're having. And then them saying, I'm not sorry, multiple times to each other in this before she finally just yells at him. I imagine the fan videos about this were wild at the time. But okay.
Yeah.
I think that, is it typical for Damon? Yeah. He straight up says his whole thing, which is like, I make bad choices that hurt you. I'm not trying to necessarily, but like, I have my conviction. And then we find out that, the sire bond isn't there anymore. She has her emotions back. She's doing okay. And in theory now she has a clearer head, which is not true, but that's what they think right now.
Yeah. Yeah. We're putting a lot of stake into Elena having her feelings back and humanity back, which is not irrelevant, but so much of this will they, won't they, with her and Damon and Stefan, has been like, oh, well, we don't know, right? Because, like, she's not in the right headspace to make a choice. You know what I mean? And those have all been true. This is also true now. Just because she has her humanity back does not mean she is totally aware of her feelings and her positioning. It is not a light switch that is like, she is still a teenage girl, right? And is still someone who has gone through a lot of trauma and is processing a lot of things. And doesn't have a clear head about everything all the time. And also, feelings change, even if you have your humanity turned back on, right? Those are things that were not just like, this is a solid fact of who you are and it's unchanging and will never be different. Like, we're putting a lot of moral pressure on her being like, back to her head, or like back to her feelings or whatever, when it's like, those things can still not be static, and that's okay. And also, she could just not know what the fuck she wants. Or make a decision, you know?
I think it is wild. We've seen quite a few times now where Damon and Elena have had chemistry. It has been very interesting. It is tough to do that, have this kind of confrontation and like this confession of love happen when I am seeing more palpable chemistry with Damon and Rick. And that is what I care about. And that is the story that I want to see happening. But sure, Elena, you love Damon. You're in love with Damon. Yeah. He has a husband who's going to be going away tonight, so y'all better probably figure that out. He's also kind of your dad, Broxy, so I don't know how. We got to figure out this family tree a little bit.
When she was queening out with Jeremy and Rick, that was like the only time I felt joy in this episode. It was like my family's back together.
She's back in her safe space of the cemetery. Yeah. They're having a great time. She's genuinely laughing. It was beautiful and perfect. Yeah. And everything that I needed, and I was very happy.
And then nothing good happened after that at all.
No, it was just all pain that happened because what do you mean that I have to watch Rick disappear again? Yeah. In the middle of Damon talking to him. Stop. They're literally soulmates, so don't do that to me ever again. I'm done with that. But then to know that all of this is happening to Jeremy, who we've known from the jump can see ghosts. And I'm not amused with the Bonnie and Jeremy thing. I thought we were set on them just being friends. So that is a little interesting.
The way, and I should have seen this coming. I feel foolish for not knowing they knew a specific and cruel way to hurt me. Specifically. By being like, hey, remember how Jeremy can talk to ghosts? What if we made that so painful? What if we made that so evil? By making Bonnie sacrifice herself.
I hate it.
To get Jeremy back alive and real. And knowing that he can speak to ghosts, that she'll just always be around. When he needs her, or whatever. What the fuck is wrong with you? Fuck off. Fuck this. Fuck everything.
I was already so emotional this episode watching him because he's having a great time, even though he knows that, like, they need to say goodbye, essentially, right?
Yeah.
But he's like, no, you're going to go to your graduation, Elena. You have to do it. Apparently we have family in town, ? That never comes up again. Other than Connor saying it once at the grill.
Yeah.
But when he gets to Bonnie, he's like, I can't say goodbye to her. I just wrote a letter, which is probably like, okay, bye on it. That's it.
Right.
It's just so sick and twisted of them, because I'm already suffering with Jeremy having been gone for this long. I'm already suffering because Bonnie's gone. Yep. And then you have to watch them figure out what's happening and him look her in the face and be like, I can't feel your hand anymore, even though it's touching my face. Get out. So. Nope. Mm-mm.
And he was ready. What hurts the most is he was finally ready. Like, he was... Everyone loves Jeremy. Everyone wants Jeremy to be alive. I'm not mad that he's back in the space. But he was very specific of being like, it was cool to have, like, genuine time, to have closure, and to tie up loose ends, and just to like, enjoy this for as long as we can, and truly just say goodbye in the way that, like, matters, you know? And he was finally like, okay, I've done everything I can do. I feel good about it. I'm ready to go. This was fine, you know. I'm out. Like, I'm good. I'm feel full and satiated with this. And the fact that gets ripped away from him, plus now, on the expense of Bonnie already being Gone Girl, you know, is fucking so diabolical. I'm so pissed off.
It's just so nasty, because we've had to see this whole episode where Grams is going to watch over her body, and she is going to go and effectively say her goodbyes.
Yep.
Which is nasty, because I have to watch Bonnie in a cap and gown crying.
Yeah.
And her saying to Jeremy at the end, right? Like, my friends are okay. Like, fine, for the first time in what feels like forever, like, my friends are okay. So don't tell them. Tell them that I went to go stay with my mom for the summer. You know, like, even at the very end, she's still sacrificing for them, which I love about Bonnie. Yeah. I think that that's a beautiful quality. But to have that happen, no, thank you. I don't want to watch them suffer anymore. Yeah. I just want the gang back together. And all they give me is pain. That's what I get when I watch this show, is emotional suffering, actually. The other person who surprised me this episode, and they've been doing her a little dirty for the past few episodes, is Catherine's whole thing. I loved her when she was one-dimensional. I was fine with her staying one-dimensional. What do you mean that she's jealous of Elena for getting the perfect life?
The way they are treating her in the writing of this season is so weird to me, because sure, is it interesting that she has like a different motivation? I guess, but also I think it's cool that she just wants to kill Elena and thinks she's a bitch. You know what I mean?
That's enough.
That's enough for me. You know, that's great. I don't need more than that. And what they're doing now feels much more disingenuous, of having her be really jealous of Elena for getting the life that she always wanted, ? Like, this was the same thing too that was really confusing with her and Silas in the Cure situation, right? Of being like, oh, this like promise of, you know, even bigger, better, bolder immortality or whatever. Like, none of those feel true to what we know about her and her character. She wants to fuck off and like run a small town and have like a bunch of lackeys and like be chilling, you know? That's her fucking vibe. So it seems so out of left field of being like, now this is a core part of me that like you took everything. Like, the reason I didn't have a good life is because you were always in the way. And it's like, I don't think that's how she feels at all. I don't believe that. I don't
either. I think that it is very confusing. It is wild that at the end of all of this, the person who gets the cure is Catherine. Because, like,
the fucking, like, spin a random wheel generator. Like, who's getting the cure? It's like, who's gonna, like, okay, sure. gonna force femme Catherine into being a human? Like, alright, what? Sure.
I
What?
have a lot of questions, none of which are being answered, because they really ended this episode where, like, no one's doing great.
Yeah.
Which is how, I get it. It's a finale. But, okay. I'm in pain, though. So, what are we going to do about that, actually?
Mm-hmm.
I'm nervous. I think that I'm not willing to accept that Jeremy's gone. I'm not willing to accept that Bonnie's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I need to for my personal mental health. What
Right.
I am nervous about is that season 5 starts off and Bonnie's there? Question mark?
Yeah.
I mean, the title alone is ominous,
Yeah.
You don't just make something the title of, like, I know what you did last summer, and it's like, oh, happy, cozy, great stuff. But I would like Bonnie to be okay, and it feels like they're never going to let that happen for me.
So twisted.
Yeah. I'm in pain. I am curious, though, if this second half of the show effectively is college time. The only person that we know in this friend group who's actually applied would be Caroline.
Yeah. Everyone else was like, shit. Like, I might have missed a couple deadlines. Like, yeah, dog. But I love, too, of, like, it was very sweet of Caroline being like, we can do anything. Like, we're vampires. We can just pick any school we want and just go there. We can change the rules. We can have a dorm that's all three of us. Like, we can just have a fun time. And it's, like, very sweet. It's like, I don't know, but sure.
I got so emotional when she was talking about that. It is so Caroline to be like, graduation is the most important thing that's ever happened and will ever happen. Not only because that is very true to her character, but also that is such a senior in high school thing to be like, no, this is actually one of those moments in my life that I'm going to remember forever. So I'm nervous. I don't feel good about it. All the show does is make me sad. And that's unfortunate. But am I going to keep watching? Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
We got to keep going for these discussions about Tyler, even though we never see him on screen anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It looks like, at least from this photo of season 5, that Elena doesn't have her red streak anymore. Rip. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see where things go. I would love for you to kick us off with some of our amazing patrons.
Absolutely. Thank you to Greg Lautner.
Ooh, thank you to April Dobrev.
Ooh, thank you to Sean Salvatore.
Ooh, thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Ooh, thank you to Katya Karp.
Ooh, thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Ooh, thank you to Danielle Burke.
Ooh, thank you to Janae Bennett.
Ooh, thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Ooh, thank you to Dan Zeklos.
Ooh, thank you to Emily Ozera.
Ooh, and last but certainly not least, thank you to Jaylene Ivishkov.
Pew, pew, pew.
So I have a fan fiction for you that I'm going to read the summary of for us. This is by the author Castaway Line, and it is titled Excuses. Here is the summary for you, because I'm not over these two as soulmates. The music blaring from next door is driving Alaric insane. He confronts his neighbor, and the music stops. Even so, he continues to find himself at the other's doorstep, again and again. So, if you would like to read, 3,000 words on Rick and Damon, that apparently has the tags tension on it, please enjoy these two, because I will miss them dearly.
Dang.
I just want these two reluctant parents to take care of these gaggle of goofs, okay? What do you want?
That's all I want. I need it so bad.
They'll never give it back to us, it seems like. Friends, tell your friends about the show.
Yeah.
It's a great time starting season 5. We have 2 bonus episodes for you to be able to enjoy as well. And be good. That's all. Go take care of Tiny Chef.
Yes.
He needs our love. Mm-hmm. We will be here next week, as we say here in the Pacific Northwest.
Get bit.
Ooh.
Ow. You've been listening to Into the Twilight, an independent production by Earbud Media. You can support the show by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/intothetwilight, or rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. You can send us a backstory or a fanfiction at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com. Our music is by Eli Krause, and our art is by Maddie Padilla. You can find me on Twitter at Cody Corral and Allie at Many Are the Stars. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.